are a lot of life lessons and wisdom that my elders have passed on to me. Some of them are worth sharing with the world. I am Chaitanya Shroff, a third generation industrialist and a lifelong learner. Here's a lesson that I learned while I was in Bhavnagar of tapping into a permanent river. I arrived in Bhavnagar in 2012 to join my cousin Rishit, who was heading the site back then. Excel Crop Care Limited was set up on the outskirts of the city in the early 70s. The city's sewage ran from nearby the premises towards the sea and the creek. I expected to work with chemicals and on the plant and machinery over here, but there was also a surprise in store for me. Let me take you back a year in time. In 2011, my uncle Atul Shroff had inaugurated a biofilter plant over here that consumed the factory's sewage as well as some of the city's sewage to filter it and consume it in the factory premises for watering the trees. I had worked with my uncle in the past. My uncle roped me into this project of expanding this 200 kiloliter per day plant that was occupying 400 square meters to a 600 kiloliter per day capacity in the same space. The time for overhauling the entire plant was about 1 year and the budget was quite massive. It helped that my uncle was older than my father, who I was working for to get the budget approved. The 600 kiloliter per day plant was still just good for feeding the trees within the green premises of the factory, and we had a little bit left over to give to the farms in the neighboring area. Of course, this wasn't as easy as I mentioned it. There were a number of challenges, starting from getting permissions from the local authorities to the pumps and pipes getting choked up a number of times. There was sludge, debris, and we had to figure everything out on making sure that the machinery ran well. There was also the psychological acceptance that we had to figure out from the team of handling the sewage, handling earthworms, and a number of other issues that would crop up as we went on. The soil also was quite a challenge. The terrain wasn't easy when digging for tanks to store the sewage. There was a logistical challenge that we had not thought through. Collecting biomass that comes in a seasonal supply to bringing in crates, filling them up, and even getting the manpower to fill it up. It was quite a challenge. And there was also a challenge that we had to handle later when the RO was installed. In the middle of the project, I had to step away from work for my marriage. The entire team took this as a breather, relaxed, and 3 weeks later, when I came back, the project had rolled back a couple of months. I was young, a little bit belligerent, and driven to get things right. We brought in the RO. Like I mentioned earlier, there were challenges to even stabilize this. The NTU, I learned a lot about water specs in that 1 year that we installed the RO, and a lot about ROs. Stabilizing the RO was a challenge unto itself, but it provided the breakthrough we needed for getting acceptance of this water. The boiler was one of the first units, and Sanjay Rajaguru was the lead in that to accept the water and bring about a turnaround in acceptance against apprehensions for this project. Then the plants followed. Soon, the team started finding opportunities instead of apprehensions. We had demineralized water installed post the RO by installing another RO in series. That accelerated the payback. And I was over the moon when Somendra Mukherjee came to me and said that the plant was paid back within 3 years. But the real kicker came in 2013-14 when the entire site of Bhavnagar would have suffered operational losses due to less rains. But 80% of our water consumption being tied to the city sewage really helped us. We did not lose a single day of production. In retrospect, it was a very risky move to put up a proposal that saved only 5 rupees a meter cube, but it paid off. I had a team backing me up. I would like to thank the entire team of Excel Crop Care that stood by me in getting the permissions through, in getting the materials in making sure that they held fort along with me. There was also the team from Transcam that supplied the technology and the know-how and provided us services and held our hand through the entire year that we had to stabilize the plant. They have already installed more than 250 plants across India. There are many others, of course, that I have already installed such units and they have benefited from putting up such units. RCF, Jubilant Life Sciences, Delhi Jal Board, Sumitomo, Transpec, and many more. I would also like to mention that in 2016, I left Excel Crop Care when it was sold to Sumitomo. And in 2020, I got a very excited call from my old teammates, Amit Mehta and Sanjay Vadodaria, to share the news that this biofilter plant project that we had installed had won the RC Global Award from Sumitomo. I would like to conclude with what my grandfather used to say about sewage drains. India has many seasonal rivers, and there are those rivers that flow permanently. Countries like Singapore and Israel are already doing their bit in recycling water and making every drop count. Industries like mine and many others have also started taking that step. I think if everybody can do their bit in recycling water and tapping into such permanent rivers, then we would have a better world to live in. Thank you.